As you can see, I'm up in Leuchars in Fife, which was originally a home to the RAF. It's now multi-purpose. You can see the sign behind me. It is now also an army base. Now, the reason we're up here, we've heard some incredible stories and thought we had to come up and talk to the locals. And we have. But unfortunately, because this is quite a military-led community, the same as in Inverness, very, very hard to talk to people. However, we have had an insider from the council and someone from army personnel who has spoken to us and gave us some pretty damning information. Now, 2023, this is from the council insider, we had 500 Afghans arrived here. That was after, remember, the story with the list of apparent and alleged helpers of the British forces who had helped us in some way, allegedly, whereas there's some dubiety over that. So we took 500 people, apparently arrived in a plane on this airfield behind me, and came into the country 2023. Where we are just now, we believe there are at least 40 families still in the community. Now, what problem does that give us? Well, it gives us one big problem, that these families are now, some of them, being housed on the families' quarters for this base, which is just along the road from the entrance I'm standing at just now. It's given people some concerns. We have had two independent sources tell us about a recent incident with two males in a child's playground. Not taking photos of children, not trying to do anything with any other children, but something they were doing between two males, which I'll leave you to decide yourself what that was. I'm not going to say it out on this video because it could get pulled by YouTube, but they were quite close in a situation which you wouldn't expect anybody to be doing in a child's playground to each other. We've heard stories about situations with just like not great behaviour when these people on the streets, congregating in small groups, upsetting locals, being discourteous, being disingenuous to people. But the most alarming thing is a story that I'm going to do a separate video on. And it's not most alarming. It's not, how can you be more alarming than what happened in the play park? But the fact that we now have these families on the base, again, it's the second base I've been to, the second base that's going to have asylum seekers in it. We had a story from the council worker telling us about a welcoming party where, to help these people integrate, and certain people in certain positions were ordered to attend this party. And when they attended the party, everything was culturally Afghan, which is a bit strange because we're meant to be integrating. We're hearing problems with medical attention, doctor's appointments. The local doctor's surgery is not fully staffed. It only opens till, I think, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which makes it hard enough as it is before we put more people in the community. And that's kind of a bit weird. They've now been here for nearly 2 years, and the signs of integration are almost zero. We've had reports of kids' toys being stolen out of gardens. We've been told about events put on for the community where the non-British residents are given priority. We're told that there's a lot of things that we've got to try and include the community, but then other events are purely funded for the non-British community, which is a bit weird. And the welfare people down here, when anybody makes any complaints, they're generally told that it's that's just the way these people are. It's different societies, and we need to put up with stuff. So it's really quite depressing. And another thing that came up from our council source, apparently now in Fife alone, which is not a big, massively populated place, we've now got 3,208 pupils that have got language barriers that can't speak English. Now, obviously, they can learn English, but it's causing problems in our school as well. Just check my notes here to make sure I've covered the stuff that I have. We've had stories about kids going in to play the football park and getting told, no, you can't play there. There's Afghans in there now, they have to have this to themselves. Exclusive events being held just for them, where locals are not allowed in a local house, and the locals have been told houses are uninhabitable when they were asking about empty houses in the area, to then find out at some point in the future these houses miraculously are habitable because they've been used for our asylum seekers. Now, I've got one other story that I'm dealing with from this visit, which is about the accommodation for our soldiers, which is pretty disturbing. And I'm just waiting for some photographic evidence to back up the story. So I'll keep that for a separate video to do over probably the next couple of 3 days. But that, it's just frightening. Do you know what I mean? So we've spoke to probably 4 or 5 people in the community. Because it's such a small community, none of them, obviously we've got people from council, we've got people from within our armed forces who just can't identify themselves. But even the normal community are actually scared to put anything out there. And what worries me about that is, in the space of about 10 days, I've now been to 2 military communities, Inverness and now here at Leuchars. And it's this silence that's imposed on people who are just, yeah, you might be an army person or the wife of an army personnel, and you're forced into silence. But we've even got now the normal community scared to talk out. And I don't have a problem. I'll highlight concerns that anybody's got in the UK over the length and breadth of the country. But it's one thing me doing these standalone videos talking about the things I've learned during these visits. It's quite something else when we get people on camera, like we did in Inverness. So we just need some people I know it's a big ask, but to put, even not your face in camera, but stand behind the camera with a camera point at me and share your stories. We need to let people know what's going on, because it's not just our cities, it's not just London, it's not just England. There's communities up and down the length of the whole United Kingdom, from Ballymena to Peterhead to Inverness to Glasgow, Edinburgh, Manchester and London. I've been to Epping, I've been to all these places, and the only thing that divides us as a nation is our accents, because the concerns we've got, the things that we need to live with, are the same regardless of whatever part of the United Kingdom you're from. So if you want others to see this video, do me a favour, click the thumbs up, make sure you do that please, and hit the share button and put some comments below. That'll help YouTube drive it into more people's timelines. And if you double check please if you're subscribed, because a lot of people are saying they're not subscribed anymore. So just double check it, and if not, hit the subscribe button. But more important than all that, unless you're the type of people that make these situations arise and then compound these situations by forcing people into silence, then not you. But everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now. Behind me is Glasgow Sheriff Court, one of Europe's busiest courts. And because of that fact, we'll see every week several members of the public and podcasters, etc., facing trials in here for a number of things. However, an increasing number are for posts on social media, videos on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. And for that reason and that reason alone, I believe it would make sense for everybody who does podcasts as a minimum to join the Free Speech Union, because they will help protect you when the law turns on you. That doesn't give you carte blanche to say what you want as a member, but it does give you the protection to help you when the law goes wrong. This is not now only something that should be considered by podcasters, because we are seeing more and more people each day arrested. Normal people who don't even see themselves as civilian journalists, arrested for posts on social media. So it makes sense to join the Free Speech Union because we live in this country in 2025.